Awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to week two's tutorial of some of the stuff that we went over in class. Um, Might as well just get into it. So I'm going to be recreating the little driving simulator VR testing that we did. And then I will go into more of the VR template tutorial, which I'm in right now, to show some of the stuff that I didn't get to show last time, like making a skybox with lighting, which we can see on the screen currently. But I'll start with the driving one first. So the reason why I'm in right now, I'm in the VR template project. It doesn't look like it because I'm in a new level. But if I pop back into the template map, oh, you can see that we're actually just in the VR template level. I was just in a different level, which I'll show you how to create in a second. Let's see, if I hit the play button, we see my little pop-up window. I am wearing my headset on my head currently. And if I, don't hit the mic. If I move my hands in front of me, you can see that, it's the normal VR stuff. So I'm going to exit out of here and show you how to migrate this project into a different template, namely the driving one, which I actually already have open on my desktop. So if I pop back over here, we can see that I just have both games open at the same time. So we're going to put the VR template from this project into the driving template. Last time we did that, we did it by going to content drawer, clicking this little plus icon, and going to add feature or content pack and importing it this way, which you can do. This is totally fine. We'll check out the first person and the other ones at some point. But what we did was that we just clicked on VR virtual reality and clicked add to project, and this will work. But this is only for the basic template projects. And if you wanted to add the C++ ones, you can do it this way, but I recommend not doing that. It causes issues. And the reason why I'm doing it a different way is because we can see this only lets us do so much stuff. I think the rest of our content is supposed to show up here, but it doesn't. All the content we have in the Epic store, which would be for me all these different project packs. But I don't know why it didn't show up there. Either way, to get the VR project into this vehicle project, what we're going to do is that if you have both projects open, which I do, let's make sure OBS is looking. Yeah, okay. If I go here into the project that I want to move stuff away from, I can click the content drawer and I can hover over the folder that I want. I just moved everything into one folder, called it VR project, just to show it's easier. And I'm going to, let's see, right click, look for migrate, click it, and this will give me a folder outline of everything in this project that I would want to migrate over somewhere else. So if I don't want everything, I can uncheck some stuff. So if I uncheck the topmost hierarchy, it'll uncheck everything. But I want everything. Just because it's a small template project, I'll just give me the whole template. I'm going to click OK. So everything's checked. So it's going to give me everything in the template project. And it's going to open up my file explorer and ask me where do I want to migrate this stuff I just clicked to. So right now I'm in the VR project. So if I go to my projects folder, I have a bunch of different projects in here. I called my driving one week 2 driving. So this is the one I want to go into. Double click it. Click on the content folder. Has to be in content. These ones are important for different reasons, but when you're migrating content assets, it has to go into your other project's content folder. So double click it, and it can actually just go anywhere in here. So select folder, and it will start migrating the packages. And because it's fairly small, this shouldn't take that long at all. And if I did everything correctly, it should be done. So let me go over to my driving project, click Content Explorer, and yes, so we see we have the VR project, sorry, the vehicle project, which is this project here, and then we just migrated in the VR project folder, the VR template project. And this is useful if you download, a project off the internet or even through the Epic Store. Sometimes when you want to import stuff, you'll get the helpful option that just says, so add to project, which is very helpful. It just adds it into your project. But there are certain projects where it'll ask you to create a project as opposed to add a project. So you would have to create a project, it'll create a new Unreal project, and then if you want this to go into a different project, then you have to do this migration dance. So that's why I wanted to show you guys how to do that, because we didn't get a chance to do it before. Most of the time it just says add project. I have a lot of things, but every now and again, this derelict corridor, or this defender animated dialogue, I don't even know what this is, or this nice forest pack, which opened up at a different window, so that's not important for now. Sometimes you have to create a project and migrate it instead of just being able to open up the project in it. But cool beans. So inside the vehicle template project, OBS, there we go. I switched back to the other one. I'm just going to show you some quick things, just review of what we did in class. So by default, if I were to press play, this should just open up in a normal windowed mode. Yeah, there we go. So we just have the car. I can drive around by pressing the WASD keys. And it's just, the normal view. If I press tab, it'll switch to like a hood driving mode or like a cockpit mode. Basic driving thing. So if I click escape, it'll take me out of play mode. And what we're going to do is, like we did in class, I'm going to click on world settings. If you don't have this, again, you go to window mode and click world settings, and it'll pop up. This will let you select your game mode, which right now is the BP. Make this bigger. That's not gonna work. BP Advanced Vehicle Game Mode, so the game mode for the driving game. And what I want to do is, again, we saw this in class, but I want to change the vehicle. This project comes with two different vehicle types. So if I click the default pawn class, specifically this folder over here, it'll go to where this vehicle is located. And we see we have sports car and off-road car. I'm going to click on the off-road one. Click the BP vehicle off-road car. See, it's blue, so it's highlighted, so it's active. It's actively selected. I'm going to minimize my content drawer, and I'm going to click this little arrow over here, which says use selected asset from content drawer. We know that the off-road car is blue, so it's highlighted. It's actively selected. I'm going to click it, and it changed into the off-road model. So if I click the folder icon now, we can see it go towards the off-road model. So if I now hit the play button, now we're at the off-road car. So that's how you would switch like the default pawn between the same game mode. And then this blueprint has different settings to make the turning a little more Doom buggy-ish. All right. And with that being said, all we really have to do to turn this into a kind of VR experience is if our headset's already set up and we're using the MetaQuest in our class. So I have my MetaQuest application open. I am connected to, I have the application launched in my actual headset. So no, I don't. Give me one sec. I think my headset disconnected. Never mind. This is actually a good example. Because we migrated the VR template from this project into this project, all we did was migrate the content. And doing it this way, we actually don't get the necessary plugins that we need for to turn like a non-VR project into a VR project. So this is actually a good example to show you what that stuff is. So if we go back to the VR template project, we can go up to Edit, click on Plugins. And we can see the plugins that are installed. Okay, well, certainly more than that. I was hoping I can just clear it out so I can see what's installed in this project, but I guess not. As to why they don't want to let me do that, sure, whatever. But that's okay. Let's see. Want to go all plugins. I think there's a few that we need. So if I search XR, which stands for extended reality, we can see this project has the OpenXR, OpenXR eye tracker, and OpenXR hand tracking. I think these are the only three that we need, but I will see if I'm wrong when I install them in the other project. So we're going to look for these three in the vehicle template. So I will click on the vehicle template. Now we're back. Now we're in this one. I go to edit up here, go to plugins, and type in XR. We see we have none of these installed. So, okay. So I'm going to check OpenXR. It's going to ask to restart my editor, which is going to need to do. But to be efficient, I'm just going to check OpenXR eye tracker and OpenXR hand tracking. So the three we saw in the other project. And then now the editor has to restart for it to take effect. So I'm going to restart the editor. I'll pause the video and it'll I'll come back when it's all installed. So I'm gonna pause and I'll be back in a quick sec. Okay, awesome. We're back in the project, and as you can see, we have the OpenXR plugin checked. We have the OpenXR eye tracker checked, and the OpenXR hand tracking checked. With that said, we should be able to start the game in a VR preview now. So if I close out of the plugin and click the little hamburger menu next to the play icon, which I never explained in class, but essentially we can play the game in a windowed mode. That would be the normal driving simulator, and we can see that's just like, windowed inside the editor. If I click escape, I'll come back out. But we can also play the game in a new separate, it's called a pie, but like it's its own separate window. So we can see we're in like its own window. I think it's running its own processes or trying to. I forget exactly what it does. But if you don't want to play in the editor, you can play in a separate window. And then if we look down, we can see we can play in a like mobile preview or standalone game. This will try to make like a simulated version of your game outside the editor. So that will definitely run its own separate processes. We can see, runs its own processes. Pi just plays in a new window. But now we have VR preview. This is not grayed out. It's now available because we've installed the 3 plugins. So if I click this, we can now open the game in the VR mode, which we can see on screen. I apologize if I get away from the mic while I'm doing this because I can just put the headset on my face. Let's see. Cool beans. Okay, so we're really just hijacking the camera with the VR headset, and right now I can see I'm playing in the VR mode. So my head is controlling the camera, and then I'm using the mouse and keyboard because we haven't changed any of the key bindings. So we're kind of mixing the 2 modes. And if I hit tab, that was tilde. Nope. Tab. There we go. Now we're in like this VR. Now we're in the cockpit mode, and so we can do. If you wanted to do this for a project, where's the mic? I can't find it. There we go. If you wanted to do this for a project, you can do like a VR driving game, kind of like PS2 Wipeout style. If you don't get motion sick doing this, but yeah, just a cool way to use VR in an interesting way. This makes me a bit motion sick, so I don't recommend doing it. But if you want to try it, by all means, go for it. Cool beans. And that's pretty much it for, adding in some new functionality, some new movement styles, combining the VR and the vehicle template. So that'll be it for this one. And then the next video, I'll show you guys more about the VR template. So I will call it here and see you guys next one. Where's the stop button? There it is.